Hello, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Jamie. Today I want to talk about hindsight. Hindsight can be really tricky because a lot of things look a lot clearer when we're past them, and mostly it's because our emotions are no longer involved. When a situation is past, we're no longer like having that emotional charge about it, so we can usually see it more clearly. Not only that, but we usually have gained some kind of clarity or knowledge that has made it more obvious to us, like what maybe the quote better choice would have been in the moment, things like that, or being able to see a situation more for what it is, and yeah, in like a broader perspective way once we're past it and out of it. At least for me, like, hindsight's always 2020, and I tended I'll say I tended to sometimes have regrets about things, and feel bad about choices I made when looking back it seems so obvious what I quote should have done. But the reality is that we're all doing the best that we can in any given moment, and that usually, like, that hindsight doesn't come until we're out of it. And what I'm realizing lately, and what I've been given the opportunity to do lately with my hindsight, is to use it to essentially share about my experiences, my past experiences, with other people who are more fresh, either in the situation that I've already been through, or they're like going through it now, or they just went through it. And it's been a really beautiful thing to realize that even though for me the hindsight doesn't always mean that I can change that particular outcome or that particular situation, of course I can use the knowledge that I gain from that hindsight to move forward in different ways and take different actions and think different thoughts, and all of those kinds of things. And so that's really beautiful on its own. Like, I think life is about growth and learning, and, getting more in touch with our true nature and coming back to ourselves over and over and over in a deeper way. And so, like, yeah, using that knowledge for our own path is great. And, like, I definitely do that. But also, it's just been really beautiful lately to connect with people where I've been able to share, how a situation made me feel, or a bigger life perspective that I gained from it after the fact, that has like helped. So one thing is, like, I've had a few themes coming up in my reality of people talking about times where their life completely flipped and changed, and it was unexpected and a bit harsh, and all the things, like, where it just completely flipped and they had to sort of like start over and figure out where to go from there. And I've had that happen in my life so many times. And it's interesting because right now you could say I'm in one of those times. Like, I created this flip, but I'm in a completely new beginning, in a completely new place that I came to sight unseen. And so I'm feeling into like my next steps and how I fit here, and yeah, like what's gonna be for my highest good here, what's gonna be for the greater good of anyone I come in contact with, or like with what I do. But yeah, it's been really cool because when life flips and things clear out, you get a divorce, your relationship ends, maybe you lose your housing, you have somebody close to you die, you end up like having to move or change jobs, maybe you lose a job, maybe you lose your car, all of these different things. Sometimes people lose it all at once, sometimes it's just one of those things, but in my experience, my perspective, it's a great clearing out. Like, you can either look at it as everything's been taken away from you, or you can look at it as the whole world has just opened up to you with all the possibilities. Because when we have all the things sort of worked out, right, and we have the job, we have the place, we have the partner, we have all the things that we think that we want or that we're taught to strive towards. You know, sometimes even when those things aren't really feeling good to us anymore, or like they're not resonating, or they're not really serving our highest good anymore, maybe they're causing us to grow in a new way and shift our lives in a new way that maybe we didn't see before. And really, that's beautiful. It's beautiful because when everything is known, less possibilities are able to flow into our reality, I guess. And not to say, look, I enjoy times like that of just like having life feel kind of calm and having a balance struck and just being like in a flow. But I also see that in times of my life where things just like changed drastically and everything flipped, and all of a sudden I was like forced to move and forced to get a different job, and all of these things like basically pushed out of the life that I had created for myself, where look, in those times I wasn't even very happy. So I see it as a positive that those things happen. But obviously in the midst of it, like as I was going through it, did it feel good? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the times that come to my mind right now also involved a lot of grief, a lot of letting go, a lot of sort of like shock to my system in a way that I had to sort of move through and find like my own internal compass as to which direction to move in, and like how to navigate those big feelings that were coming up without letting them just completely consume me, which I'm getting better and better at, like as time goes on, like so much better at moving through emotions and just letting them move versus getting stuck on them and attaching a thought and then just continuing to think that thought, which is something I used to do a lot. So yeah, when you view the world as working out for you, and not only that, but that you're creating it, things look a lot different. And I think if people get real with themselves, a lot of the times when life flips like that and everything changes, there was like some level of dis-ease, like disharmony going on with them, with the situation. You know, there was some aspect of it that wasn't gelling, that wasn't feeling right anymore for them. And I think a lot of the times we get so sort of caught up in our life, like caught up in our day to day, that we aren't always in touch with those feelings. And so it can seem like it blindsides us, but really we were getting pushed that direction all along. So when everything falls apart, it means that there is so much room for everything to fall back together again in a way that's like even more beautiful than we can imagine as we're going through the flip. And it's been so, yeah, it's just been so beautiful to be able to connect with people about just real life things, and sharing things that I learned through those experiences, and also sharing how they made me feel, and yeah, sharing my broader perspective now as a completely different person. And it's been just like leading to these like really beautiful conversations. And I think, you know, that's part of how we all help, you know, walk each other home, is home to ourselves, is what I mean when I say that, like home to our own spirit, home to our own heart, home to our own true feeling. Because when we share that broader perspective that we gained when someone's in the thick of it, or they're just coming out of that, I think it can really help a lot. And I know that I have gained a lot through hearing other people's stories and how they moved through things. And that's a big reason as to why I share here, because I know that, you know, it's always nice to have someone who gets it, who understands what we're going through, what we've been through. And yeah, I think sharing these videos is one way for me to do that on a bigger scale. So but it's happening in my life as well. And it's beautiful. I love connecting with people about real life because you know what? At the end of the day, we're all in this human experience. And as much as, any of our experiences look polished from the outside, they're never as polished as they seem because this human experience it's got the full gamut of emotions and experiences and growth, and that growth can be messy, and that growth can, lead to a lot of tears and a lot of, yeah, I don't even know where to go with it from there. But anyway, I hope you're having a beautiful day.